Well, everyone, I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is 6 o'clock, but I do not have a quorum. Our only option is to wait for a council member to show up, which I thought we would have by now. And when they do, we'll get started. If not, we'll give them about 5 to 10 minutes and reschedule another meeting. So at ease. There he is. Good evening, Tracy. We do have enough to have a quorum for a meeting. It is 6:02. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone to the May 22nd business meeting of the City of Smith Center. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes from the May 8th meeting? Are there any additions or corrections to those May 8th minutes? There's no additions to those May 8th minutes, and we reviewed the vouchers and all the vouchers in order. If the vouchers are in order, I need a motion to approve the May 8th meeting's minutes and pay the bills. So moved. Need a second? Second. Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of May 8th and pay the bills. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. On our agenda this evening, we have, in previous minutes, we have the swimming pool and pool house. We have lifeguards to approve. We got the applications on order.
Yes, they're line.
Any comments, council, on the lifeguards? The 3 lifeguards recommendations, Don, you want to give them?
Well, yeah, I recommend that we approve the hiring of these 3. I think we have to make sure that we're just at a bare minimum right now for what we need. And if we lose 1 or 2, I think we're gonna have to come up with a contingency plan of when the pool may be open. Because if we lose a couple of guards, I don't think we can be open 7 days a week, normal hours. Again, can't get anybody. I mean, that's.
Comments, Brady? Tracy?
All good.
I need a motion to approve these 3 lifeguard applicants.
So move second.
Moved and seconded to approve these applicants for lifeguards. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. On the pool house, Ariel, you have some stuff for the selection of stuff.
We have samples of the block, yes.
Can you bring him in here? We'll give them to the pool committee and let them decide what they want to do. Is that all right? We have some tile that you guys need to decide on what your style you like or you want. The mason brought it by.
Yeah, I haven't looked up what's currently there, so I'll have to do that tomorrow. Yeah, to match what's already out there.
Okay. I'm gonna send it with them tonight.
I mean, they can still take it, but
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, we'll bring it in, let them look at it, and they go decide later on tonight or take it with them, have their own meeting.
What time tomorrow you have to turn in?
I don't have to have it turned in tomorrow, but I was gonna look at the plans to see what, like, the chlorine house and all that already has, because I think we're gonna match that block that's already there. That's kind of the plan.
On the pool house, we haven't really progressed much other than we need to order this, material, whatever it is, and get the ground ordered, because it takes some lead time to get that stuff. Tracy,
I didn't bring it, but I do have a quote for, the plumbing is roughly right at 50,000 the way it sits right now.
all right, we'll, if you, whenever it's completed and turn it in, then we can
Yeah,
write change orders.
I'm just waiting on a couple of things. And we can do a lot of changing. I think I can take that wing down if we revamp.
Some stuff.
Yeah.
Good enough, we're not gonna worry about that until
Yeah.
later on.
That's why I'm not getting in a hurry because I'm trying to. But I'm telling you, the price of stuff, it just keeps going up and up and up. And I think actually supplies there, they upped it during COVID and they haven't taken it back. They still want, I know, they're not gonna take it back. They're gonna keep going up. Yep.
I'm sure there's still some things that are hard to get hold of. And when you go in these big box stores and they got stuff falling all over it.
Depending
Oh, I
on,
do.
depending on what we do, we can cut a lot of that stuff out of there too. I mean, I don't think it's, I mean, you can't even find lawn cars. I mean, you know what I mean?
Somebody.
You garden somebody's life.
I'm going, yeah. Well, but that's a sad deal, but I understand that Joe was saying there's other towns that are having
Oh,
the
yeah,
same thing.
yeah.
Cause they can't staff it.
Ariel, how soon did the mason need to know back? Did- did-
He just walked in, dropped it off and left. So,
Oh, he didn't.
no, he didn't. I sent a message.
The, our pool committee, our target date to start on this thing with the gravel work foundation work is after the pool closes for August. And we'll get the concrete done, the flooring done, and then the mason will come in and do the walls. And then the Billy will take over and do the roof on it. So hopefully we'll have it 90% done by fall, late fall, early winter. That's kind of the target.
Before snowfall.
Yeah. Provided we don't get any snow next year.
We can always hope.
But that's kind of where we're at. But he does need to know sometime what we want to pick for stone to, so we can get it ordered and get the mortar color ordered. Anybody have any questions or anything to go on the pool house? C-CLIP program,
As you can see, if you travel down Main Street, they're in
yeah,
progress. What I included in here is just what we had shared on the website and Facebook and such. We did door hangers for everyone that was in that vicinity so that they would have an idea of what was going on and when and how long to expect to be. How it will pay off, I guess.
are we stockpiling the milling? Yes, they're not for sale.
Did we sell them?
I don't know. I would just assume we kept them for our streets, for our alleys.
Well, my opinion is they aren't worth having, but they wash board, they wash out with the rain, you don't have any base to them. They're not good to put in the alleys. My opinion, we should sell them, but it's up to you guys.
On the road that goes between, Monroe Street, between Dave Stewart's house and Parliament, that has stood up very well in that milling.
Put oil with it, though, didn't you? Got oil.
We put millings on that 5 or 6 different times. It all goes in the ditch, all washboards. That's a terrible road. And we started putting millings on that the year before Bill retired.
Yeah, I know the millings went down, but I drove it, I've been driving it today and it's a good road. Did you put some oil with it?
I don't know.
I think you did.
I don't know.
I think. I'm pretty sure you did. All right, we'll move on here. Is that all you have, Bill?
We got in a short order.
I think you got the millings. Trying to get it done today. That's all we have under our old business, new business. We have resignation of a police officer effective June 1. Has everybody had a chance to look at that? Comment? Anyone? Not, I need a motion to accept.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept Brett Decker's resignation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Departmental heads, we have the rec commission. You have the floor first. Got anything to bring for the council,
The commission on,
or you, whoever,
well, the
the bylaws?
bylaws, the bybook, is there for everyone to read. It looks pretty, detailed, but I think it's what we have to do. Billy, you got something?
No, I'm just, yeah, we more I could hear.
Oh, okay.
Did you talk to Tabitha?
Oh,
No,
Tabitha had worked on these, and this is a compilation of all the state statutes. And so when she got to looking at all the different state statutes, that's why it's this long and detailed, but each of these requirements is set by state statute for a recognition that is similar to ours. So we do have some changes as far as numbers, how many numbers, of course, some of them will have to serve some staggering terms. Since we only have 2 remaining, so you'll need to appoint 3 for a total of 5.
okay, I'm trying to find membership.
It is in the first page, Article 2, governing body, 2.1, appointment of members. Governing body for the board shall consist of 5 members appointed in accordance with Kansas statute for 1, 2, 3, and 4 year terms.
So are these 5 the ones that we want?
There's already 2 on. This was given to us by Joe Stansberry prior to the write-up of the bylaws and
Right,
going
so
through
these
the
5
statute.
are the ones that are, they're gonna have to cut.
Interested. Yeah. There's gonna be 3 out of that 5 that can be appointed.
And that's not, that's, the 5 members are set in stone. By
Correct, that's
statute.
by statute. The appointments are done by you to start with, because there are only 2 members right now, and 2
Right.
members do not constitute a quorum to make any decision. And then we will go through and see where Joe Albert is and that packet and make sure that they stagger for reappointments.
So we need a motion to submit 5 or 3 of these.
3 of those 5.
At least.
That's maximum.
Okay.
They can only have 5 members.
They can only have.
Has there been anybody on there previously?
John Stansberry was on, I think, for a year or so, a few years back. Joe hadn't been on there before. Neither has Tiffany, Evan, or Kendall. Kevin was on the golf course board. I'm not sure if he's still on.
I think we definitely want Joe and Sean probably on there. Yeah, I think a lot of boys are pretty young.
I can kind of tell you what they were thinking. We talked about this earlier today, just in case this was the case, because we've not been able to get access to a copy of the bylaws. So we didn't know if there were gonna be 5 or 7. And, we talked about Kevin, Joe, and Sean.
Well, does the bylaw state that it has to be 5?
Yes.
That's why I'm thinking
But
about that.
can we can all.
And Billy did ask for them, but I only had a draft, and I can't hand out a draft until you guys have given permission. to do
Well,
so.
we can, if it doesn't, well, I don't see where it's there.
It's on that Article 2, governing. I got a question, Jill. Okay. Terms of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, how's that broken?
So when they're reappointed, it'll be 4-year terms. It's to make sure that they're staggering so that not everyone is up the same year, just as you guys alternate.
Okay,
So
so
that's
they
why,
might be appointed for 1 year.
Correct. and we'll make sure that the 3 that you appoint stagger with the 2 that are there. There'll be 1 reoccurring, but that'll be it.
I think Tiffany should be on.
Well, I think what we need to do with this 2-1 on the appointment of membership, state that they have a minimum of 5 and a maximum.
We can't do that.
Haven't read, researched everything that's in these bylaws is by state statute, it cannot be changed. She called me on it at the end of the week. And she didn't plan on being here tonight, so I don't know if she got tied up with something or had an emergency or what took place, but, that was one of the things she had pointed out when she called, saying that she was sending them over for review. The ones I had looked at were, but I didn't know if I was reading them correctly, I legalese, but that's what she reported.
They say,
Do they have an alternate?
Doesn't say.
I would say somebody would have to step down and then someone would have to be appointed.
When a vacancy occurs for any reason, members of the board and city council shall appoint a person to serve on the board in accordance with the provisions, just like we do.
And that's part of the background screening is required. Okay. Something we've never
Wow.
done before. Yeah, she was pretty surprised to find so much.
oh, yeah, I do. Especially when we didn't have anything to start.
It surprised me at 5. It seems like if people want to be involved, you would.
Have we talked
Volunteers
about that, Jeff, though?
are
Yeah.
different.
They won't stay.
They can still take volunteers, they just wouldn't be voting members of
Right.
the rec commission. So they can have a list of volunteers that are willing to do some or all or here and there.
And we need to approve these minutes preliminarily.
The bylaws have to be approved to get started, and the members need to be appointed for the rec commission to have a meeting and start doing some action.
The resignations, how does their term fall in? Like, if their terms are different, we would have to appoint someone to finish, say, 2 years and someone to finish 1 year.
Correct.
Sorry, I'm late. Had a little
Case will
thing
go
come
on until end of-
All right.
Yeah, because they'll be up for reappointment.
Right.
Just have a question on the recreation.
Oh, yeah.
They show the membership just 5,
Yeah, that's what the statute says.
really?
So
Well, I thought,
when we last discussed it, obviously I had no idea. But when I went and reviewed the statutory scheme is actually pretty well regulated by state law. It really is. It was interesting. That's why these bylaws are so intense, because this is first of all, apparently it's not super common to have a rec commission that's city only. Most of them are joint rec commissions with the school district. And so it was hard to find bylaws. And I ended up just having to adapt them from a city that was similar in size, that was a joint, and just take out all the school board stuff. But even those were still only 5. And so the school board, taxing district, could have 2, and then the city could have 2, and then the other one was at large. so it could go either way.
I think Kensington goes, it's a combination, school
Mhm.
and. They already tried to do that once too, and it didn't fly.
Yeah, I mean, since I've been here, this has never been a thing that's been discussed. So I have no idea what the climate would have been at the time y'all started it, but
It says that they can't be a board member of any other activity. Also, so I don't know if any of these are.
so, tell me which specific,
It says board member.
what
leadership
number are you
roles.
looking at?
It's the very last page. On D.
Yeah, so it just says which may be in competition with the board or participants or facilities. So it's basically just saying like if you're on the rec commission, you can't be on the Kensington Rec Commission as well. or something like
The
that.
same, okay.
It's
So-
like you can't be on another similarly situated board. You could, it doesn't mean that you couldn't be like involved in other community organizations. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to get that. Okay. They recommend. Tabitha, if we go over 5 members, we're in violation.
I mean, there's no like penalty prescribed in the statute. It just says that the board shall be 5 members and how they shall be elected, how they shall be chosen, right? That's outlined in the statute. So it doesn't say if you go over 5, you're in big trouble, but it also doesn't say you can have more than 5. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
it
say.
doesn't say you can't.
Right. I mean, it says shall be 5.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's pretty prescriptive, you know. That doesn't mean that you couldn't find ways to have additional people who just were like non-voting, serving in like liaison type roles. There's no reason that you couldn't do that. I mean, so technically the director's not a board member, and so he doesn't get to vote, but he still has a lot of input. There might be other ways that you can incorporate additional people. If people want to help, I think obviously you don't want to turn people away, right? But technically the statute says 5 board members.
So you could make an advisory committee too.
Sure.
But they'd be non-voting.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could leave that up to them.
Absolutely.
We just have to.
Yeah, I
vote
mean,
the
this
3
board
in.
is actually a lot more autonomous than some of the other, like, boards or commissions that you might say, oh, hey, let's put together a board to kind of give us info on this. Because there's so much statutory authority and regulation over a recreation commission. They can do a lot more things than your average commission.
So let's just vote 3 for the board. We can have the other 2 for advisory. And we can leave that entirely up to them, right?
Yeah, what is it? Sorry, as you probably noticed, it's a lot of pages. I didn't memorize it. What were so the other thing is it tells you you have to like stagger them,
Yeah,
but
we were just talking about,
you already have 2 members who are,
gonna go off before these.
We can place them in place of the one.
The short term.
Yeah,
okay, so you've already got that figured out.
So let's do one at a time here.
We need to approve the bylaws before we do.
Yeah, so it says
That's
members
what I
of the
was gonna say.
board and the city council shall appoint a person to serve on the board.
That's just what I was gonna say.
So,
Approve the bylaws first.
okay.
Any more questions or discussions about the bylaws?
There were a couple of things in there that I had questions about, right, Jill? Oh, you had asked about the procurement policy. Did you guys already talk about that?
Yeah.
Again, sorry,
I mean,
I'm
that
being
is,
late.
on that, we would just wonder if we need to have that in place or if what is there satisfies.
And that really, like, so legally, I don't think that I have a big impact. I think It's really just gonna be up to your policy if you want the board to follow the policy that the rest of the city employees and agencies would use. Which is what are the highlights of that?
If, for the most part, they're gonna vote as a group and bringing it, the larger purchases into the city council. And then, of course, if there's projects, they're bid out. The difference of that is if there is a local provider that can save maybe $10,000 or is within 2,000, maybe 2,000 more than on something, than another contractor. But the other contractor, is bidding it at 98,000. They're local. So it just kind of outlines some of
Sure.
that as well as when to bid a project, when a bid is not necessary. And some caps on the dollar amount, which doesn't affect the Recreation Commission a lot. They bring all equipment, larger equipment, usually to the city council anyway.
Because they need you to buy it, or they have the,
Because
do they
typically
have the
that
money
comes,
for it?
typically that comes out of the Rec Commission funds that we have in-house. That at the end of the year, what's left is allotted to the other account for the day-to-day expenditures on the, say, uniforms.
Yeah.
Some of the smaller.
So you could, the way it's drafted right now is that they develop their own policy and procedures. And you could leave it that way and then just put an amount with which they would have to come to the council for approval, like 5,000 or more or something like that, if you're worried about that. It sounds like they would do that anyway. And then then they can sort of decide how they're gonna do uniforms and like smaller expenses themselves.
They write their own checks on that stuff.
Yeah, they have their own budget, their own.
Does Article 8, the very last thing, does that solve our problem with 5 members wanting more? Because it said policies may be amended at any board meeting by a majority vote of the entire board provided, So is that saying we could amend that to whatever it is?
So
To what?
again, you can amend your bylaws, but you can't amend the law. So you can't amend the statute. So you could amend your bylaws within the scope of the law. Again, I really don't think that like a 7-member board is like a hill to die on. I think if it's something that they really wanted, I doubt that anyone's going to like come in and say, no, this is against the law to have 7 people, but it is technically not within the statutory scheme. So yes, there's an argument to be made that they can amend their bylaws to say, we have an additional 2 members and this is how we select them. And again, you couldn't change it so that they're out of the taxing district of the city, but because that's where you're really gonna have issues, right? Other than that, I don't know. I mean, I didn't do a lot of research, but there's not gonna be case law that tells you, no one's getting,
Well, what
this
about,
isn't a
okay,
litigated
compared
issue.
to a city council? Are we locked to a number? Could we amend that?
Well, you have home rule power, so you can do a lot of things, yeah.
These guys don't have home rule.
Correct.
Well, just setting up boards, I've seen that having a rigid 5 board member is more awkward than having a 5 to 7 because you have a more leeway getting somebody to show up or say you have your form.
Well, when we talked at first, we said no more than 7, no less than 5. That is what we had talked about when we met, without knowing what this was. What do you think about that, Bill, and the advisory people?
We've talked about this at length. We would really like to have 7, just so that we can have a quorum. I mean, we've got a meeting scheduled for Wednesday night. And there's 5 of the 7 can be there. But if we don't have 7, if we can only have 5, I don't know if we're gonna have 2 or 3. Well, if there's only 2, we can't do anything.
Right.
And so, with this being a volunteer deal where nobody's getting paid, it's kind of hard to to make everybody, make it where everybody can show up. I mean, everybody on there has got a practice or, some other kind of commitment throughout the week. that-
Oh, yeah, that was the
Hard-
other
it might be
thing.
hard to get a quorum.
That was another thing in the bylaws, like, I just had a fill in the blank date of when your meetings would be, so that'll need to be changed.
Yeah, what do you
Did
get?
anyone notice it?
Third Tuesday of each month.
Yeah, so
And that's on the-
obviously just let us know what your actual set meeting date is, because the thing is that what will be the trickiest thing for any new board members or any even existing board members is understanding like open records and open meetings act and making sure that, you have your set meetings so that people know if they want to come or they have questions, they know when and where you meet.
Which I do have copies of the common core, that's one we all need to hand out. That way all your members will have that, that'll help them too, as well as when it's allowed for someone to be able to participate by phone or something of that nature.
Yeah, so if you have 7 members, only 4 people have to be there? Or 5? 4. And so if you have 5 members, 3 people have to be there.
Let's just go with the 5, and if it becomes a problem,
You can go with the 5 or go with 7.
no, go with the 5 and let them set up their advisory board and let them handle it.
And honestly, if you go with 5 now, I can kind of dig in a little more. I'm telling you, not very many people in the city attorney world had a lot of feedback on this, but I can keep asking around and see if anyone's done that, just amended their bylaws and added additional members.
I talked to Hayes and Great Bend, and I don't remember, one of them has 7 and one of them has 5, but they are tied to the school also.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Lynchburg is school. I couldn't find anybody that was just city that I could find somebody to talk to.
Yeah,
But so I understand what you're saying.
it's unique.
But
We have that on the listserv too. I searched the listserv endlessly and had some wanting to set up, some that had a rec commissions, didn't have set bylaws, and
Mhm.
a lot of fuzzing.
Any more comments, questions about the bylaws? My comment is if we are something down the road, if we don't like it, we still have the permit.
For sure.
If there's no comments or additions to that, I need a motion to approve the bylaws for the rec commission.
I'll move to approval.
Second. Seconded, been moved and seconded to approve the bylaws for the rec commission. All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. The appointments. You'll tell us who the 5 you want.
3 new ones.
3 new ones.
Yeah, 3 out of these 5.
3 out of these 5. Would you make a recommendation?
Joe said he didn't care if he got on now or if we had to amend later. Sean, Kevin Lauman, and then if they have to live within the tax district, then that makes Ken Lauman ineligible.
Mhm.
Has it always been they had to live inside the tax district?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, since
We've had rec members that weren't inside.
I want to say since
We didn't have any-
2009, that's been the law, but
Yeah.
that could have just been the last revision, so it could have been before that. But yeah, the statute, that's what the statute says now.
Is that to these kind of inside
Yeah.
city limits?
No.
No, that's not in city limits, is it?
But when she started on the
When
board,
she
I'm sure
started,
she
they
was in
were,
city
yeah.
limits. Yeah.
He wasn't a member.
No, he's a.
Okay, you said Kevin, Sean,
Teresa or Joe.
We Tiffany,
I'd prefer to see a little diversity.
I would too.
okay, so
Kevin, Tiffany, and Joe,
Sean.
Sean prefer.
or excuse me, Sean.
I'll make a motion to approve Kevin, Tiffany, and Sean.
I'll second it.
New board members.
Been moved and seconded to approve Sean, Tiffany, and Kevin. All those, Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Motion carries.
Yeah, I think when Denise got on, they were in the district.
If they want, it's an open meeting, so if we have like, an advisory committee to the board, Kendall would be fine to be in that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
This is limited to voting members.
Right.
In the Department of Business, had the fire truck behind the report for Steve McNary. Has everybody had a chance to read this?
I have not, you didn't?
Fire department, Murphy truck, working fine, the equipment, his equipment came in with order. He explained the bunker gear, which Chris had talked about at one of the previous meetings. They've gotten some grant money for it. They've had just received another grant to purchase some more of this bunker gear. And he explains the replacement schedule. Had some issues with the AC in the meeting room. They're working on that, getting a quote and checking into a generator. And he thanks the city for all that you do for them.
The bunker gear quote that they're looking at is around $60,000. They already have their money lined up for that through grants. So it doesn't come out of the city's budget. That takes care of that on the, we're moving right along. Brenda, you have the floor, economic development.
All right, we had our meeting on the 11th of May. Had some discussion around the financial reports, but those were ultimately approved. Richard and Victoria Cobb have applied for a residential revitalization grant for 411 North Brandon Street for new siding, soffits, and fascia. That grant was approved for up to $3,000 in reimbursement for that project.
Comments, anybody? Don?
Nope.
Tracy?
Nope.
Brady? Nope. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second.
Then moved and seconded to approve the revitalization. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion
Okay.
carried. Thank you.
Lynn and Jared Wagner have applied for a residential cleanup grant for 505 South Washington. The house at this location, that's the wrong address. 513. Thank you.
513.
Yep, 513. The house has no central air or heat. There are soft spots in the floor. It has mold, needs a new roof and windows. And so the board moved to approve the application contingent on Rick's inspection of the house. So that would be a grant application for tearing it down.
This is the house next to.
Is it just next to him? Yes.
North?
No.
Just south of him?
That project is bid out to be $4,500, so this grant would reimburse up to $2,250.
Any questions on that, Brady?
No.
Tracy? Don?
Nope.
Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the cleanup grant for 513 South Brandon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Worst.
So I'll get with Rick on that timeframe. Brian Betts has applied for a business expansion and development revolving loan fund for $50,000 for the purchase of Dale's Service Center. After discussing the paperwork, which was quite extensive, but also the most complete loan application I've seen, the board approved the loan contingent on bank approval of the other portion of the purchase and clarification in the sales contract of the legal lots that were included in the purchase.
Comments on this, anyone? No?
Nope.
Brady? Nope. Tracy?
No.
Paperwork's in order.
It is.
Need a motion to approve. So moved.
Second.
Move decided to approve the revolving loan fund. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Brian has also applied for a Jumpstart grant application for $5,000 to be used in the startup of that business. And so the board approved that lump sum.
Comments, board? Don't?
Nope.
Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Need a second.
Second.
Been moved second for the jump start. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have applications from Scott and Jolene Brewer for House on North Grant. One of them was denied and the other one was tabled until we can get some more information from the applicants. The next action discussed was regarding the financial reports. And so there was action by the city attorney to get a mortgage signed by Twisted Kettle. That document has not yet been signed. And so the board discussed it and just moved it to the city council for your discussion with Nick. The next action item is under the housing team report. The housing team has drafted and reviewed a vacant property ordinance. This ordinance is a tool that other communities like ours who have land banks use to encourage property owners to utilize the land bank. So the ordinance would set forth a process for registration of a property that is vacant, and then further fees on properties that remain chronically vacant or are abandoned. So this Economic Development Board discussed the ordinance. We recognize that enforcement of the ordinance is an additional burden on our already strapped staff. So we're investigating being able to contract with someone to be able to help us with that enforcement. And so that work continues.
Has anybody had a chance to read this draft? I think we need to look at this draft as to see if that's what we want.
Yeah, I think that you guys need to just read the entire thing and then maybe when you have like a full council, come back and discuss it. It's just from my perspective, I understand how this would probably help put pressure on people to end up just donating their properties into the land bank. But, or in the alternative, we just have more people who are like, well, I'm not paying that. And then just more fees out there on people that can't really get collected. So I don't know. It's a good idea. I don't know how in practice how well it would work out. But it's definitely
But
a good idea.
if we have a fee that somebody has to pay, we can assess it as property taxes.
It depends. The answer to that is it depends. And under the nuisance statute, the nuisance fees, so when you remediate, like if you go and mow, that can be attached. if you actually condemned a property and went in and destroyed it, tore it down, those can be attached. Like they're a special assessment. If they don't pay, then they go to the property tax. So there are some ways, yes, but no, just like you can't just attach any fee the city wants to put on something to a property tax, even though it's related to your property. So I haven't done nearly as much research as it would take to give you like a great answer on that, but that's what I know off the top of my head.
Well, we've got people owning properties in the community and using them for storage because it's cheaper for them to pay the property taxes to use it as a storage facility than it is to rent a storage facility. And that is an issue with our downtown. It's an issue with a lot of the houses that we have that are livable. So we have to do something to put some pressure on.
I don't disagree with you. I just want to make it the right decision that we make.
Yeah.
Okay, so, the next action for the housing team is we have a couple of people interested in joining the housing team. At the point of time at the Economic Development Board meeting, the motion was to add Cody Theobald and Jamie Isom to the housing team. In talking with Cody after this board meeting, he recognizes that he will not be able to make the meetings as they are currently scheduled, so that would not help us in getting the quorum, which we know is important to city business. So I would respectfully request that we don't add another person to the team. Jamie has committed to being a part of the meetings.
We don't need any action.
Yeah.
We got, just a point, Jamie.
Yeah. Mhm.
Questions about the change. Anything wrong with it? So, need a motion to avoid change.
How many do you have on that?
On the housing team, we have 7, I think, right now. And we did add phone or Teams to our last meeting and was able to get a quorum that way. So yeah. Hopefully we can keep that team working.
All right,
I'll second that, Jamie.
all right. Then move and second that, Jamie, to the housing committee. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries.
Okay, and the last action from the board meeting was regarding our economic development plan. We had 19 people respond to our survey from businesses in the county. 14 of the 19 were in the city limits of Smith Center, so pretty interesting ratio. The board considered the feedback from that survey and some of what we've talked about over the last year and decided to add a goal to the economic development plan to develop sites, industrial sites, and identify and attract new industry and secondary sector businesses. My tongue is not working.
Easy for you.
So that was an action. I don't know if that needs to be confirmed by the city council or not.
I don't think it needs to be.
That was our meeting.
Very good. You guys are very busy. Thank you for bringing this to our attention on that. Bill will go through this and we'll bring it up. Joe, you're gonna bring it to full business and not the next meeting. Okay. So let's review this for the meeting, second meeting next month. Have some discussion on it. If we take it apart. All right. Moving on. Thank you, Dana. Jamie, you may have the floor. Police Department, you have anything to bring for the council?
Yeah, other than bridge reservation, we received funding from the Smith County Fund for $3,350 for our radars. So, we got that fund, so we'll start working on getting that implemented anyway.
On the rotation schedule, back to the way we were back when you were
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah, and I talked to the undersheriff today, and that'll probably work, so what they will do is they'll be reactive to whatever we need in the town while I'm gone or on vacation or whatever, so, but I'll visit with him and I'll get a, schedule to them and we'll go over that, and if they get a problem with it, we'll work it out, so anyway, all right.
Anybody have anything for Danny Brady? No. No. Thank you. Rick, you may have the floor.
Well, my, generator at the shop, it's gonna be about 4,000 to fix it. I told them to order the parts, because you gotta have it. So, just micro switches and a transfer switch that went out. And we've been discussing this, new water line at Gaylord. I think we're gonna try to start that around the 1st of June and be harvest instead of waiting for harvest, because I don't know if there's gonna be a harvest. So I don't know why we would wait around. I think we can get it done before anybody even starts thinking about cutting, so maybe it won't be quite so hot. And I think we've got everything we need to do it. I need to get old Mitch Fritz and I'll let you know when we're gonna start, but that's kind of what we're talking, throwing around right now.
Questions for that, anybody? Thank you, Rick. Do you have anything else for the council? Nope. Anybody have anything for Rick? Good job, Rick. Thanks. Jill, you may have this one.
Just a couple things, the guys completed citywide cleanup last week, as you all know. I think they took in quite a bit. It was a little messier this year, so we may have to make a few suggestions to some of the property owners. There were a lot of items just thrown about the curb. But the guys did a great job and got it all completed. You'll see in your packet, we were also granted a Smith County Community Foundation grant for the full amount requested of $12,175 for the siren replacement and upgrade. And then today I received an email that we were also granted J.P. Hansen $10,000 out of 25. Which is about 26,000 at this point.
Good job.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Anybody have comments for Jill? Ready?
No.
Tracy? No. Ariel, do you have anything to bring for the committee?
I do not.
Anybody have any questions for Ariel? Thank you. Tabitha? You have anything to bring?
Just,
What we talked
what we've already talked about, yeah. so-
Anybody have any questions for Tabitha? No. Tracy? No. Tracy? Thank you, Tabitha. Well done. Chris, you're gone tonight. Tracy, you don't have a thing ready for the council? Not. Okay. Don, you have anything?
We've
ready?
already discussed it.
Brady, do you have anything ready for the council?
I had some people ask me about those Kansas Street properties again. If we have an update on them getting them tore down or across from Bush's.
Yeah, what's the status on those?
I don't know, that was economic, they've gone through economic development. Do you know the status on it?
So I have talked with the property owner and she has grants that's pending to help tear that down, but the contractor that she had selected pulled out of the project and she's not been able to get anyone else to do the work.
That's a hazard.
It is.
Their biggest problem when we talk with them, with the contractors, pay the dump fees. They're not hauling that out to the dump themselves, then the dump's gonna charge them, but it was something stupid,
Why would the dump charge a dump fee on a building?
because you're not tearing it down yourself, you're not hauling it out there. We discussed this with Hyman, you and I did. And it was something crazy. For
Tell,
what?
Yeah, they're treating all of our contractors out at the county dump. If the property owner that's working on the project for doesn't haul the material to the dump themselves, then the contractor is charged to dump.
Could they ride in the truck with them or something?
No, but our remedy was we have dump trucks. They pay to get it torn down. We'll take a day to haul it. That's my opinion.
I go
with that too. Get rid of it.
It needs to be something done with it.
Maybe we need to talk.
I think it's an issue that's been addressed at the county level. I don't know how they're handling it, but I do know that it's been discussed. But it's been their policy for a long time.
Didn't they go
They've
around and around
always-
shingles and
commercial-
stuff?
Well, commercial contractors have always had to pay at the dump. It's not like a new thing. People, if you haul your own trash out, you don't pay. But if it's your job and this is what you do for a living and you're hauling out loads and loads of like commercial, you've always had to pay.
So it's come from the same source.
I agree, but I guess if you're doing it yourself, then you get a deal. I don't know, but that's just the way it's always
So
been.
if somebody wants to use our truck, I'm well in favor of that. It helps get this project going.
It needs to be taken care of.
Yes, it does. Rick, you wanna head that up?
No, I've been on it for 2 years and I get the same thing. This contractor backed out. And that contractor backed
So
I
out.
mean, it seems crazy that the dump fees are really what's like, are the,
Can we,
How
can we
Yes.
hear it though?
Oh, except for the one attached to Corey's garage. I don't, I've never been in there and looked it all over and the other one's got a basement in it, but the second story roof's all falling into the basement. The floor's no good, so. I mean, yeah, we can tear it down, but there you go, you're jumping over everything we quit doing, so.
Yeah, that's right. Did you happen to look at that property up there?
Would this draft fix that?
The ordinance,
We're sending them all over.
it would start the process of adding fees to the property.
Then it would be still become ours.
But you can't allow something like that to,
Well, yeah, that's right.
whatever it takes, that's gotta be done.
I thought we had a workable solution on that. It's kind of fell through the cracks,
Go through the floor.
fell through the floor.
It's in the basement.
Let's pick this up and go run with it, bring it up on the next meeting, see what progress we have. That's all I got. Thank you. Thank you, Dick. The only thing I have, I've been contacted by a young man in town about fireworks for the 4th of July and whether the city would want to participate in a financial way for a fireworks display on July 3rd. I'm just praying for the council. I don't know what kind of dollars he's talking about, probably be around $1,000.
Why'd you like that?
Because, I don't know, because I think 4th is on a Sunday or something like that.
Tuesday.
Fourth is on a
Yeah.
Tuesday.
I think
Or you
likely
hit it one day.
because people go to work Wednesday, I don't know.
They would go to work on
Wednesday, right? Yeah, so if you did it on the 4th, you do it on Tuesday night, I guess. I mean, that's when people do fireworks on the 4th of July. It makes sense. I'm just trying to think of a reason why you might do it on the 3rd. I don't know.
can stay up later.
I don't know why I'm trying to get creative.
It's the fourth day off. That's why.
Listen, everybody interested in my father.
Tracy said the 3rd just because they figure people do their own on the 4th. That is Tuesday.
Oh, great, Bryce does it too.
I'll let you.
Yeah, we got time on
We got time. All right, that's all I had to bring for the council full committee. Get your choice on your stone that you like, and I think we can get it through the mason so we get everything ordered. Thank you all for coming to our business meeting tonight. I need a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Yeah, we need to get Chris.
Do I need to do something? I got you.